Yeah, we're recording. I thought this would hit for y'all. So Amber had to go to the gynecologist today, and just because we're attempting to have children, so she's getting the checkups and whatever. And she sends me a text, and she said, 5 minutes into this wand being up my snatch, the girl who was doing it was like, "Oh my God, is your husband the comedian?" And she's like, And she's like, yeah, well, it gets better. And she's like, yes. And then I text her back. I was like, haha, you can't escape me. And then she called me and she goes, yeah, it was really funny. She was like, I told her who you were. And she's like, oh my God, I follow all three of them. And and the girl goes, now, which one is he again? And Amber, I said, well, what'd you tell her? And Amber goes, I said, the bald one. And I said, well, that's not going to
The
work. I
bald.
always wear, well, that's not going to work. I always wear a hat. And she goes, no, she knew. She got it immediately. So that hit.
I want you to work on a character named Corey Baldwin,
Yeah.
and it's the only Baldwin brother that didn't get to be in movies. You just sell cars out in the tri-state area.
And
That kinda
buddy,
hits.
a couple of them were busted and still got to be in movies. So
I was about to say,
Danny Bobby,
Yeah.
he was in rough shape.
Well, I like that maybe this character, it wasn't that he was too busted to be in. Like, you were above it. Like, you thought Alec, or was Alec the first one that broke, probably? You thought he was full of himself, So you're just like, fuck that. I ain't sucking up to none of them.
Yeah, I didn't like Hollywood. Just wanted to sell cars.
Corey
Yeah, all
Baldwin.
right. That's not a bad. That's not a bad character.
So I got this story that I've been meaning to tell. Just okay, disclaimer, or I guess it's disclaimer. This is a
Trigger warning?
yeah, it's a very gnarly story, but it's also completely true. And also, just stick with me to the end of it. We have been talking about getting a cat for a long time, like because the boys want a cat, and Katie, and I'm a cat person. Katie likes cats too. Katie has been looking at cats on the internet for, I'm not kidding, months, because like all these.
So
This is why he want me to get a bird, Corey. So my bird will eat his cat, and he don't have to have a cat no more.
You know it goes
I
the
thought
other
it goes
way.
the other way.
It does, yeah. That's why. So I can bring my cat over and she'll murder your bird.
Yeah, he doesn't want you to get a fucking hawk.
Yeah, I've been trying to get into falconry.
It's funny because, like, that's other than I know Andy wants a big bright parrot. Literally, the only kinds of birds I've thought of was hawks. So that's why my brain did that. I was like, yeah, my bird will, but you're right. That's the other way around. There's like two birds that would murder a cat, and those are the only two in my heart. Go ahead.
Yeah, but no, I mean I've been on board with it, but Katie is like, that classic like we can't decide where to eat lunch type thing. Like she just could not commit to a cat on the. You get on all these different shelters websites, and they all got like Tinder profiles, but for cats, And
In her
like,
defense, that is the same lunch every day for 13 years plus.
yeah, no, I mean it's a big commitment for sure, but like it's been going on for a long time, and then finally, so last Sunday, so 10 days ago when y'all hear this, like 3 days before that, she finally decided on a kitten, a little kitten at a shelter in Hacienda Heights, which is like inland in Southern California. It's like over an hour away from where we live, like without
Does that
traffic.
mean House Heights?
A hacienda is a type of house or like building. I don't know exactly, but I think
Yeah, I think that's more of a that's a loose translation because casa also means house.
right.
Yeah,
I
only
think
know
hacienda is like a
colloquial.
state.
Right.
Yeah, I only know colloquial Spanish, and some people were like, "Hey, we'll go to the hacienda and have some
it's
beers."
something like that.
Maybe it means a state.
I ought to know because I've actually been trying to and not doing great at learning Spanish lately, but I don't know that word. But anyway,
I thought you were about to just stop with, "I should be a multilingualist."
I
should know
should.
that.
That's why do you think I'm trying to learn Spanish? Because I've thought this like, man, how do I not know more than one language? It doesn't make any sense. I got to learn one. But anyway, that where it's at will be relevant later. It's not close. It's a drive. So like last Sunday morning, we all get in the Jeep and go out there to this animal shelter and pick up this precious little kitty who's like very sweet from the jump. Just lets you hold her, and she's just real cute and sweet, and everything's going great. The shelter has had her spayed, and she's got all her shots and all that shit. And they've had her spayed recently enough that she still has the stitches, so we're gonna have to bring her back later to get the stitches taken out. But it wasn't like the day before or whatever. So they told us explicitly, they covered this, and they explicitly stated at the shelter that she did not require one of those cone things that you get when you get when a pet gets spayed or neutered. They were like, no, she doesn't need that. It won't be a problem. Cats of this age or whatever, there's like, it's not necessary. So we were like, okay, fine. Didn't think any more of it. Take the cat home. Sunday, it's fine. Monday, it's fine. She's like taking a little while to get used to the house and warm up to everybody. But by Monday night, she's playing around and doing the cute little, kitten shit, and it's all great. We go to bed Monday night. Cat's fine. We wake up Tuesday morning and she exploded. The cat exploded everywhere. We walk in. The Bishop gets up that morning and walks into the living room and finds her on a pillow, literally disemboweled, like fucking guts hanging out like a goddamn Oliver Stone movie. I mean, fucking, people think that we're like exaggerating, like the vet's office we ended up taking her to because she's still alive somehow. You should just 7.5 lives at least she's used up, but she's still clinging to the last couple. And we we took her to 2 different vets places, and you could tell when we go in there and we've got this cat kind of folded up in a pillow, like holding it together, and we're like, yeah, she did something, and she's like, her intestines are hanging, and you can tell they don't believe it. And then they look and they're like, oh shit, because they told us that pet owners tend to exaggerate a lot when they come in there. You know what I mean? They come in with their like little purse dog and they're like, she's dying, and she's not dying. And that happens all the time. So they were like predisposed to thinking that we were exaggerating, and then they would obviously freak out as soon as they saw it. It was clear that like, this is not a thing that often happens.
Did you say that happened more than once?
What? Yes. So right. I kind of getting ahead of myself. I immediately called. I just Googled vet emergency room near me, and there was one in Burbank, like a block over, very close. So I called that one. They said, our doctor is not here right now. He won't be here for like an hour and a half. So you need to take her to Glendale, to this place that's called something, and the acronym is VCA. Apparently everybody out here knows VCA, but that's just what they told me. So we're like, okay, so we all 4 got in the Jeep, rushed her over to VCA. I have to leave Katie and the kitten there and take the boys back to school and then come back. And when I get back, the vet at VCA had told us that they could operate. There was no guarantee that the operation would save the kitten's life, and the cost of the operation was going to be the cost of it no matter what. Each of you guess how much you think that operation was going to cost.
$3,000.
I've gotten that guess a couple times. You're not the only one that said that.
$9,000.
$10,000 to $15,000.
Fucking word!
I know. And so like,
my friend Arena had to get surgery on her dog's knee, and it was $10,000 is the only reason I said that.
And
it's the anesthesiast, right?
I guess they were, so look, man, I don't care what anybody, like, first of all, I mean, I was the main thing was them because I asked them, I was like, and I know you can't like guarantee anything, but is that just a thing you say, or like, and they're like, no, I mean, she may not make it, and you're going to be lying. And I just couldn't. I told Katie, I was like, I cannot handle paying $15,000.
Plus, you just met that
for
cat.
A kitten we just got.
Yeah. I was about to say, I'd do it for my dog after I'd had it for a while, but not a new motherfucker.
And they were like, well, we told them what happened. Another thing that pissed me off was it was evident to me that they did not believe us that the shelter didn't give us a cone. They gave us a little write-up, and it said, owners claim to have not been provided a cone, but like, they didn't give us they explicitly said we didn't need a cone. But anyway, they said you could call the shelter and see if they can do anything, and that's all we can tell you. So we called the shelter, and the shelter is like, oh my God, yeah, take her to our vet, the vet that we use, which is also out there by where the shelter is in Hacienda Heights. And we'll call them and tell them you're coming. You take them over there. So me and Katie get in the Jeep. Katie has to hold this cat together with this like pillow while I drive over an hour out here. We go to this vet's office and we go in. And
Did it
like,
stink?
No, I don't know if I just
was it not bleeding?
That was the weirdest part to me. I think it's like there was blood around the house and on the pillow, but not as much as you'd think. And I don't know if it's because it's mostly like just an open cavity in there. and it only bled like it would have bled like a cut would bleed.
The cuts be bleeding, dude.
I mean, I know, man. Tell me about it. But no, it was weird. But like, we drive out there, we walk in, and it was clear that if someone had talked to the shelter, it wasn't the people we were dealing with, because we had to tell them the situation. And again, you could tell that they were like, okay, sure, her intestines are hanging out. And then we give them the cat, and they're like, oh my God, her intestines are hanging out. And then now they're like running around like a fucking emergency room situation, which, you know, is good. And me and Kay have to sit there for a couple hours, and they come out and tell us that the surgery is successful, but now it's just a matter of seeing whether she will recover or not. We can go home. They'll call us when he updates. It's probably going to take a day. You know, she could die at any moment, or within a day or day and a half, they'll know whether she's going to pull through or not. And she survived, and that was over a week ago, and she's at the house right now with a little pink shirt on to cover up the wound, and also a donut around her neck so she can't get to it. And I lobbied very hard to name her Gutsy.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I thought that was great, because Gutsy means brave, courageous, but it's also like, you know what I mean? It's a double thing. But Katie, her name is Stitch. We named her Stitch. But
that's pretty good.
Anyway, but
I would have gone with 50 Cent or whatever.
Yeah, but a couple other things at that vet's office. First of all, Drew, if you ever feel like being around super hitting and dumbass and awesome bulldogs and bulldog puppies, just drive out to this vet's office, take Mick there for a routine thing. It's like they specialize in bulldogs. We had to go back a couple of times, and every time, multiple bulldogs in there. Pregnant bulldogs, tiny bulldog puppies.
Were they British bulldogs?
Yeah, like English bulldog. There was one French and like 7 English bulldogs.
I don't know if it's that they specialize in it or if it's that those ain't supposed to be.
Right, and that's one of the only places you can go. Right, yeah. Oh, right, yes, right, yeah. Either way, if you just want to be around some bulldogs, I'll tell you where to go. But so that was nice, because it was like it made it more. It was like a more therapeutic, or what am I trying to say? Being there in a shitty situation, sitting in that waiting room, thinking it's cat's going to die.
But you had all them.
It was
British
alleviated
bulldogs?
by fat bulldog puppies being around.
It reminded you of the one that you still alive, Dooley?
I don't know, probably not.
Oh,
yeah.
Why? Was he
They
old?
only lived like 8 years. That was like, dude, that was like not over 9. I mean, he would be 9 or 10 now.
Well,
so
rest in peace to my man, Dooley.
Yeah,
But anyway,
dude, George's
Never seen anybody
mascot's
like
a bulldog, and we've had like 10 of them in my lifetime. You know, like they just fucking they're the most taken care of bulldogs on earth. They just stay
I'm pretty sure we've had 2 Smokies. Not maybe not my whole life, but that I've been aware of that we, since I was 8, we've had 2 Smokies.
So a couple other things. The people at the vet who finally took care of it, they were like, when we told them, because they work with that shelter all the time, and we told them that, they were like, why didn't she have a cone on? And we were like, they didn't. They was like, did they not give you a cone? And I said, not only did they not give us a cone, they explicitly told us that she did not need a cone. And when I said that, the lady at the vet's office was like, no, like, what was her name? Like, who at the shelter told you that? Like, because you could tell that, like, and at the first vet, it was clear to me that fucking cat should have had a goddamn cone on.
Of course.
And I don't know why, because that's what happened. If it isn't clear to people by now, that's why they put that cone on them, is so they don't do this to themselves.
I thought they just would like lick the stitch out.
Well, they do, but then that's all.
And then everything falls apart.
Yeah, right. And that's what happened. They pick at it.
That's
it's
so
irritating,
stupid.
And then it opens up, and then it ain't always this bad. But like, dude, it was the middle of the night. She was probably out there for hours with it. Like, I'm sure it wasn't that bad at first. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then she's just. And
them are your kids. She was meowing, and they did not wake up. They were deep sleeping.
No, and if she was meowing, none of us heard. And Katie would have.
Well, by the morning, she was knocked out. She didn't have nothing left.
I mean, in the middle of the night. Like, that's the other thing. You'd think she would have been
that's
like.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
you don't think she did?
I mean, I could buy that I would sleep through it and that the boys would sleep through it, but like, I would have thought Katie would have heard it.
Well, I would say it wouldn't last very long. It sounds like she got into a bad way. It takes a lot of energy to scream, you know?
Yeah, but anyway, she survived miraculously somehow. And I got to say, like, I'm like very, very bonded to this cat. Like, I don't want anything that, because I feel like,
Did you have to
she's really like, I'm glad you said that. That was the other thing I was going to say. I can't believe this happened because, like, in my mind, I was like, once this all played out in my mind, I was like, well, this is the shelter's fault. Like,
Of course, whoever this lady is that did this.
So they should cover this, but I was like, but they won't, because that's just not how the world works.
Also, they told you to take it there.
Right, but they did. We didn't have to pay a dime for it.
Okay.
They covered completely between the.
Do you think Judith got fired?
I don't know. I don't want to cost somebody their job.
If it's the third or fourth time they've done it, but
now here's the thing.
Because if there was one person they were specifically wondering about,
right.
You know, if they were like, "What's the name?" Because I'm going to tell on this new person that apparently has done this, then yeah, I agree. That's fucked up. But if they were like, "This keeps happening," who did it? Fuck that, man.
Yeah, I mean, and also like, look, if they fuck my order up at like Wendy's and I come back and they're like, "Who was it that took your order?" Yeah, I'm not gonna say shit because that's whatever. But like in this situation, now you got to snitch on that because. Yeah, because how many other times is that gonna fucking happen? And then somebody might end up just actually having to shell out $15,000 for it because they don't know this whole situation. So now, fuck that.
Here's the other thing that I was gonna say about it. It makes it even more Hollywood. So that BCA place turns out, and multiple people have told we realized this while we were there, and multiple people have since told me this that live out here when I've told them this story. That's apparently that's like the place. Like it's it's like where like Paris Hilton takes her dog when it accidentally takes coke or whatever happens. But like it's like the place.
They've got a rehab room in the back.
Yeah. So but we didn't know that. And
Fido's got the itches.
But that's part of why it costs so much. But so while we were there, I'm standing over there, dude. It's early in the morning. It's come out of nowhere. I'm in my jammies, basically. I got on sweatpants and like a fucking hoodie and like my Gucci's on, my Gucci slides, and just looking awful. And I'm very stressed out. And I happen to notice across the way there's this guy in a suit holding a little dog in his lap across the waiting room. And I start thinking, I'm like, that guy's staring at me. And like, this is always weird for me, like still, because there is no explanation for it for me, because I'm not a sexy lady or sexy man. Other than like either he knows who I am, or because I'm in Hollywood, maybe I've crossed paths with that guy in a pitch meeting or something and I don't remember it. But it's got to be something like that.
And that's weird because if it's the first, it's like it might be someone crazy or weird or whatever. But if it's the second, you really should say hi.
Right. Yeah. It's weird for me. And also, I'm just socially awkward in a lot of ways and shit, too. So it's like it's always a weird situation for me. And I wasn't going to say anything. And then the guy comes up to me and is like, You're Trey Crowder, right? And I said, yeah. And he's like, I don't know if I guess I won't name the show, even though it shouldn't matter. But he was like, I'm a writer and producer on some big, long-running network procedural, one of those cop shows like Law and Order, CSI, 911, those types of things.
Name all the ones that it's not.
Right, yeah. But, all the ones with the spin-off, you know what I'm talking about, those kind of shows. He was like, I'm a writer-producer on blank. Do you want to do the show? And I was like,
you got your cat's guts in your hand,
right? And it's covered in kitty blood or whatever. And I was like, and I'm just like, yeah, sure. I mean, yeah. Well, you got mine. Yeah. But
that's how you get in out here, Trey. You didn't know that. You got to have kitty blood on your body. Did I jump?
Well, I told Katie when we left, I was like, if I end up getting on NCIS it's NCIS. If I end up getting on NCIS for this,
we don't know which
will be cutting their own cats open just to fuck it, if they think that's what the secret is for some reason.
I'm about to tell y'all.
Not that but I don't. By the way, I've been in touch with him more. He's a nice guy. I don't know that is going to happen or anything, and I don't. Why would I expect that to happen? But yeah. It was so, everything about it was so surreal and weird,
right?
Including that. And I was like, it's already a wild ass story. If the epilogue to this story is me playing like a Klan member who gets shot by an FBI agent or something, it's just gonna be, extra wild.
And they fuck up the blanks, and it
actually kills me. And my guts spill out everywhere.
Yeah, get fucking Brandon Lead or whatever.
I almost said
The Raven. That movie was The Raven.
It was The Crow, but yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
I almost said you didn't say which NCIS, but there's only one NCIS.
There
are multiple CSIs.
No. There's NCIS LA. There's NCIS. It's just like CSI. There's multiple. Yeah.
And so I wanted to write this into one of our shows. Now, what I'm about to say, I know is horrible, but it's also so undeniably funny. But it's horrible. So everyone out there listening, I'm aware that this is horrible. This is not something I said. This is just something that happened in a conversation that I thought of would be funny in a TV show. Someone goes, NCIS, SCI, I get them all confused. What's the difference? They were talking about those two shows. And someone goes, well, the N. And I started thinking the N-word, like the difference is the N-word, and it has a black guy in it. And I started to say that without realizing what I was saying. Like I was trying to just like literally, no, not even making a joke about the N-word. I was literally just making a dumb joke. Well, the difference is whatever the N-word is. I don't know what the N stands for. Okay. I literally don't know what the N-word is in that. What is the N?
I don't know.
Is it national?
I don't know, but probably.
I don't. So I was going to very stupidly joke. The difference is whatever the N-word is.
Right.
And LL Cool J is in NCIS. So I'm like I almost said it out loud.
Yeah, I don't know
and then
what
I couldn't
it
tell
is.
anybody but Andy. I don't know if it's national or naval.
National don't make sense.
Well, if you don't know what it is, don't ever catch yourself saying, well, whatever the N-word is, because I almost did that.
I said a thing. I had one of them moments this week where I thought a thing, but then I actually did say it. We were hanging out, me and a bunch of my friends, and Amber's brother was over here. And one of my friends I hadn't seen in a long time, Seth, was over there, and he was catching up with Derek, and he's like, oh, Derek, I hadn't seen you in a while, blah, blah, blah. He goes, what grade were you in? You were younger than me, right? And he goes, yeah, I was, whatever grade he's in. He goes, oh, yeah, y'all's team won region. And Derek's like, yeah, we won region that year. And Amber started blushing, which I never see her blush. And I'm like, what's so weird about them winning region? And Derek goes, oh, Amber, tell everybody your we won region story. And Amber goes, well, so the year that they won region, it was, Derek was on the team and Lloyd, your brother-in-law, was on the team. It was that whole group. And they were playing pretty good. And I told them that if they won region, I would show them my titties. And so I was like, hell yeah, rock and roll. Sorry, Derek, but yes, that's her brother. And I was like, that's awesome. And then she started looking again, and I go, so, like, I bet they were happy about that. And she goes, well, that's the thing. I never showed them my titties. And I had been drinking, and boy, I got fucking irrationally mad. Like, I was like, you what? You didn't show them I was like, you've showed a hobo your titties. These are champions. And so
these are champions.
And so
it's been fucking 15 years.
And so, yeah, it has been 15 years. And so then she starts going, yeah, you're right. I really should have done it, blah, 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 blah. And I go, yeah, you fucking should have. That's bullshit. And she goes, well, okay. Would it make you feel any better? And would it make you mad if I just rounded all of them up today and showed them my titties? And then I said something I should have just thought in my head, which was, them ain't the titties they won region for.
Oh, my God. I mean, that's quality, though, as far as a line goes. I mean, yeah, obviously ill-advised.
No, well, she started to get mad. It hit for her. Just she couldn't not recognize that it hit.
Right.
Then she started screaming about how her titties hit harder now in front of everybody. She's downstairs. She just heard me. She goes, they do!
Well, hey, you scream back down at her. Tell her I won region.
You won region.
What's all state get?
Yeah.
She said, we'll just round everybody up and she'll pull them out.
This is so Raven in terms of the difference between me and you. I thought that, but didn't even realize what I was saying, and then didn't say it. You thought it, knew what it was, and then threw it out there. Hell yeah.
Because I knew it was going to hit. And I had
I guess that is a huge difference. It would have hit for no one if I'd have said that. I wasn't even like, you know what I mean? Like, nobody would have been excited that I said that. They would have been like, what?
Yeah, right.
I did one of those once. Well, I might have said this on here before, but I can't remember. But it was also like me and Katie were like playfully arguing, like just like that. Like it wasn't a serious thing, but I thought that I had like fucked up because I can't remember the context of it because it's been years ago. I just remember the ending. She said something about being like, she says something like, yeah, because you just act like I'm just a trophy wife or something like that. And I was like, my participation trophy wife. And in my head, I was like, oh, was that but like you said, it hit for her. She just laughed at it. Luckily,
that was my favorite. That reminds me of one of my favorite moments on Everybody Loves Raymond when fucking Marie comes in there and she's talking to Frank. She's like, he just treats me like I'm his trophy wife, and there's obviously huge applause break, and Frank just goes, "What contest in hell did I win?"
Yeah. It's a good show. Oh, okay. You froze up for a minute, Joe.
And you froze just like this.
Yeah.
No, I stayed there for a while. I caught one.
I was gonna say it got me to thinking about those procedurals and like thinking about the prospect of being on one potentially, because it's not something that's ever crossed my mind before, because I'm I'm a comedian. And like, but I got to thinking, I never thought the opposite. I just had never really thought about it. But like,
Richard Belzer was a comedian.
Right. But all I'm trying to say is I think there's this, to a lot of people that are like kind of TV snobs or whatever, which like I kind of am. Katie like loves Law and Order. I don't hardly ever watch those shows, but I'm not the type to ever shit on them either, because to me it's like that's insanely difficult to do that week in and week out. But in thinking about the prospect of being on one, it's just like, you know how rad it would be to like be a fucking thief or a terrorist or something on a show, and then you got a gun and you get to hold a hostage, you get shot, just play cops and robbers, and it would be fucking awesome, man.
It's also a check. Fuck it.
I mean, right. There is that.
And related to that, if you're on a successful one, it's going to be sweet trailers, sweet food. You're going to work with professionals. The guns are going to look rad. You're probably going to get if you're in a lot of scenes, you're going to get to learn how to fight or something cool. You know what I mean? Like, that'd be rad as hell, dude.
Right.
Also, playing a bad guy on anything. Mm-hmm. I can't think of any scenario where playing a bad guy wouldn't hit. Maybe one of those like goofy Nickelodeon kids show where the bad guys
would hit.
It's so cartoonish it would hit.
Yeah, right.
I think playing a bad guy in any context. Funny bad guy, serious bad guy.
Yeah, being the bad guy, that hits.
And going back to Richard Belzer, he is on, is it Law and Order?
It was the first one,
It was the OG Law and Order,
yeah.
But he was also, I'm pretty sure he's one of those crossover dudes. Wasn't he on David Simon's first show set in Baltimore called Homicide: Life on the Streets?
I don't know. Because, I remember that show. Andre Braugher was
rad.
Yeah, that show was awesome. That show's, like the total precursor to The Wire and everything. I remember Andre Braugher being on that show, but I can't remember who else was
I know he was. He was that light-skinned black dude's partner, and they would have arguments about race. That was like that was baked into the show. God, David Simon was such a fucking genius. These dudes would fight, because I'll never forget, they're interviewing this dude, they're cross-examined. What are they called? Not interview, not cross-examine.
Interrogating?
I feel like you should know this.
Quite literally my job. Yeah. They're interrogating this dude, and he was this crazy, serial killer manifesto dude, and he was racist. And Belster's interviewing him, and his partner comes in, and he goes, "Hey, I was just talking to him. You know what he said? He said black dudes are dumb. He said that they're statistically less intelligent than white men." And the fucking little serial killer, he's like tiny and Smurfy. He gets all uncomfortable because there's giant black detectives in there now. And the black dude goes, yeah, but we get the big dicks, right? Like, that's the trade-off, right? Like, we got huge dicks, but we're dumb. I'm fucking fine with that. And it was so goddamn funny to me as a 13-year-old.
Right.
Because they totally tricked this dude into confessing, you know what I mean? And then he punched him at the end, too.
I was just thinking about you as a lawyer, like in your capacity as a public defender, meeting a client for the first time, and you're like, "So tell me what happened." And he's like, "So the cops, they arrest me," and then you're like, "Right." So they take you in there, and when they're was that, where they ask you the question, what I'm talking.
What is that?
Interrogate. Right. Anyway, so they're interrogating you,
and that person just kills themselves. So I guess
I gotta stop smoking weed, because literally last night I saw a billboard for a new show called Interrogation. I stared at it a long time because I hate that billboard for a variety of reasons.
Just you just sitting there high as fuck, just got fuck this goddamn billboard.
Yeah.
So
we were going into the Comedy Store, and there's one right by the Comedy Store. And
that's why I knew I saw it, because I went to the Comedy Store yesterday.
You can't see their faces, which means they don't have a star, I guess, right? They don't have a big name, is why they do that. But as a billboard, I'm like, I don't even know what's fucking going on in this picture. And then, there's 2 R's in the word interrogation. I don't know if you're aware of that. Where they're back to back, Corey, they're like one of them's backwards,
Yeah.
and it just looks.
Like
It
the
doesn't
Rolls
look
Royce
cool.
symbol?
Yes.
Huh?
Like the Rolls Royce.
symbol,
Yes,
which does look
yes.
cool.
That does look cool. This particular font they're using doesn't look cool. Anyway, I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, they fucked up on that billboard. And then literally today, I couldn't think of the word interrogation. That was last night. I smoked weed last night.
And just most people smoke weed, get so happy, relax, watch a movie. Drew gets angry at inanimate objects. Words. Just words.
Yeah.
No, first of all, I saw the billboard sober, and I hate what they did with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But second of all,
he was not high while staring at this billboard in rage, Joe. He was stone cold sober.
Second of all,
fury.
I do get happy and relaxed when I smoke weed, and then it's a plus sum theory. When I'm happy the night before because I smoked weed, the next day it's got to come out of me.
Right, yeah, because you're still in happiness.
Nope, that ain't true. I just remembered on Into the Biscuit this week, I recorded the very end of it last night while high, and it's just a fucking just rant about how everything is worthless.
Well, there is that type of high too.
Yeah.
Right. It's everything is meaningless. We're specks in a fucking
and I almost exclusively get that high, which is why I don't get high anymore. Like I can't remember the last time I smoked weed or took an edible because like the ratio it got to where it was like 80-20. Like 20% of the time, sincerely loved it, best night of my life. I'm so happy for this. But it got up to like 80-20, and I was like, man, this just ain't fucking worth it.
It turns on you, man. And
Yeah.
I stopped smoking for like 3-4 years, other than very occasionally. And then lately, I don't know, it hadn't been doing that to me.
I'll take the edibles, but I take like such a small the whole edible is 3 milligrams, which is nothing to most people that fuck with weed, and I eat a half at a time.
Yeah.
And so it's just like it will just chill me out a little bit, make Netflix hit a little bit harder, maybe, but I'm in no danger of the void because I had the exact same thing going on.
I think I'm done. I mean, maybe there's one day like it'll have to be like a vacation situation where I've got enough time to where if it happens, I can still make the rest of it hit. But like, we've been busy with some shit and I had some stuff with Amber, and like if I've only got a couple hours, I don't want to risk it sucking, so I just don't do it. Because then my next day is a complete fucking nightmare too, because I can't sleep. I stay up all night thinking about how my goddamn career's over, about how Amber's gonna fucking leave me, how I'm never gonna go pro.
And so you don't all do that shit.
Anymore? Not with weed. I do that with alcohol.
A little cho all grown up.
Yeah.
I only do it at the end of the day, like when kids are asleep, everything is over. I got nothing else going on.
Nothing else to think about.
Well, I'll say this: if I've already been drinking, it's not near as like if I've already been drinking, I've had like 12 drinks or something. But I'm talking about like take a little bit, then I'll just go to sleep. But if I
don't ever get crossfaded.
Oh, dude,
I'll go to
worse for me.
But see, that's my thing. I can go to sleep though. But like when I take weed completely sober, ball game. Like if it ain't good, I'm in it for 8 hours and it don't hit, and there's no getting out of it.
Luckily, I've always been the type, y'all know, I fucking slip. Like if I drinking or no drinking, if I fuck around and get way too high and it's the void, like I can lay down and go to sleep.
That's
like,
such a cheat code.
Oh,
if I could do that, then I would never have quit doing it. If it got bad, I'd just go to bed. But I can't, I'll be having trouble sleeping anyways.
You do be.
I have trouble staying asleep. This morning, I made it for like 8.5 hours. I slept for 8.5 hours, and I was super hyped because it's been like 3 or 5 the past few nights.
This might not be monumental to anybody listening, but it might be to y'all. I woke up in the middle of the night and had an idea for a bit. And I was reaching for my phone to write it down, and my phone was out of reach. And I was like, fuck it, I'll remember it in the morning, which, as you know, never works out. And I did. First thing this morning, I remember the bit. Ain't that crazy?
Did you say you had an idea for you just said bit, or did you say big hit?
Bit. It will be a big hit, but I said bit.
You sort of like glitched right in the middle of that word, so it kind of sounded like big hit. But I thought for a second that you said baguette. Had an idea for a new type of baguette.
Did it hit? Sometimes you remember them and they don't hit.
It was both. It was not only did I remember it, but when I got up, I was like, oh, it's really good, because it was a tag to a bit that already hits. But like, no, it worked. Like I was like, man, and I've always heard from people, they're like, most of the time, if it is good, you will remember it, and you don't remember the shitty ones. I don't believe that either.
No, I don't.
agree with that. But again, it did happen to me last night. I woke up, immediately fucking remembered it, wrote it down, and it's good. It's good stuff.
Now, do you guys ever heard? Did we talk about on this podcast second sleep? Was it this podcast we talked about that on? So before electricity, and like there was kind of like
I know about this.
oil lamps was the best you could do. Most people would just go to sleep about dark.
At dark, right?
And in the winter, in the northern hemisphere, that's like fucking 5 p.m. Or earlier some places. So what would happen is that you'd wake up at like 1 in the morning and just be awake till 5 or whatever, and then buy oil or whatever light. A lot of people would write then, and there's like some theories. It's very Reddit, very unprovable theories, but there's a lot of talk out there about how that time period produced a shit ton of like weird dark, like Edgar Allan Poe supposedly wrote during that time.
But then also you go back to sleep.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. You don't, not just that you wake up at 1 and then you do shit.
And
then you ultimately go back to sleep.
And there's now scientific evidence that your brain is different at that time. Well, like your brain's slightly different because it's slightly connected to the subconscious and dream world.
I could,
you will anyway.
It's not in the middle of the night for me, so maybe that does make a difference because that's very Edgar Allan Poe time of day. It's very Raven time of day, the middle of the night. But I kind of do that pretty frequently because I'll have to get up. I'll go to bed at like midnight, and then I have to get up at like 6 or something sometimes because of the boys. They go to school at 8:30, and I will go back to sleep at 9 for like 2 or 3 more hours. And let me tell you, for me, that time period,
that ain't it.
No, it's the worst time of my.
That's
whole
the best
day.
for me.
Really? Because the whole time I'm like, I can't wait to get back in that bed. Or like when we do radio, same thing. We have to get up early as hell to go do radio. Then I come back and go back to sleep. And that interim period does not hit for me.
I think I hit harder at radio than I did when we used to do Q&As. It's the same kind of scenario, right? You're thinking on your feet. I'm interacting with you guys and an audience, except when we're doing it live, there's no parameters. I know everybody I'm talking to, and I'm very comfortable around you. So I should be worse at morning radio because I can't cuss, and I'm talking to strangers and you guys or whatever. I think I'm better at it, and I think it's because of that time of day thing.
Yeah, that's just as long as I've had good sleep. When I wake up, I would prefer to start writing early in the morning. Number one, for me, that's the only time I'm ever really alone here at the house. Because, like, if I wait till later during the day, Amber comes over, Christy's over here, Kirby's running over here with the baby doing some bullshit, and then all this other stuff happens and my ADD kicks in. But right there in the morning, I'm fresh. I've got one thing on my mind and I can do it. And that's it for me. And then, so if I go a day and I don't write some shit in the morning, then it's just a waste, and I start getting anxious all day, and I hate myself.
Don't hit.
No, it don't hit.
No.
No.
I don't know how much time we've done, but as I told y'all before we started, I'm about to have to leave because I got to be home by a certain time, so y'all can finish her up without me. I thought about never mind. Anyway, the kitty is fine. I was worried at first that she pulled through, but it would be there'd still be some fucked upness going on in there, which I mean is I guess it's still possible, but now we're a week plus removed from it. And she has seemed totally fine.
She been pooping regular?
I mean, everything seems normal. Knock on wood, because if we get this far and then she just fucking implodes.
It's wild that your guts can just fall out and then you just put them back and then they still work.
Well, it's weird because in a way it almost seems like that's what should happen. It's just slide them back in there, it'll be fine. But at the same time,
there's folds and. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they told us at the VCA place, they're like, well, it's not just as simple as putting them back in there. We may have to remove certain parts and sew them together because those parts may have been irrevocably damaged by the process or whatever. So
Paris Hilton's fucking vet surgeon was trying to give your goddamn cat cosmetic surgery.
I thought it was
don't hit.
I thought it was like when you go to get your brakes done in the mechanic and he's like, oh, you got all this other stuff. We're definitely gonna have to do too. It's gonna be $400 or $500 more.
How about jerk your headphone out? I agree with you. That is what it is, and I'm saying part of that was cosmetic. They're like, it don't look right.
Right.
How many Dorito crumbs do you think are just inside that cat's belly loose?
Well, he said that they took him in the Jeep. There ain't no telling the dust that was just flying in there.
And Dorito crumbs and everything else. Yeah, that's true.
Did you have the top down?
No. Just
Probably got smog in that cat.
Flopping in the fucking. You just reminded me I gotta get my smog checked. That don't hit.
Getting the smog check?
Yeah.
I mean, it does, but it don't.
Right. I'm not saying it ought not be a thing, but it don't hit to have to do.
Here's something that don't hit that I'm gonna have to do. I got this thing right here, and I'm pretty sure I've argued with y'all before. Maybe it's Andy. We're like a dermatologist.
I don't remember arguing with you about your face, but I'm sure that it turned into that.
Well, I went to the dermatologist, and she was like, it's a type of freckle. I know that sounds weird because it doesn't look like a freckle, but it's the same thing as a freckle. Don't worry about it. I think it was Andy I was arguing with because Andy's like, fuck that, go to another one. And I'm like, no. Anyway, it's been hurting lately.
Freckles ain't supposed to hurt.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, dude, my eyes situation, I've been to a bunch of different doctors, and they all told me different versions of like, sorry, can't do nothing about it. We can just get special glasses. Your eyes don't hit.
But they were
one of the worst cases I've ever seen of not hitting eyes.
But weren't they like, this is this weird thing and blah, blah, blah? This lady was literally like, that's the most routine shit I've ever seen.
Yeah, it wasn't, nobody treated it as routine. Like, what are you wasting her time with? It's like, it's a freckle, you fucking dumbass.
Well, no, but like literally a freckle is the most, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Innocuous thing.
Yeah.
It literally means cute.
That is
like,
funny.
Little freckle-faced kid.
It is funny that you full on went to a dermatologist and she's like, what are you talking about, the freckle? Or is it around the freckle or you mean the freckle? Yeah, that's a
job
freckle.
is blemishes, and she thought yours was stupid.
Just so anyone out there listening isn't confused, it's like almost as big as a dime. It's very much not look like a damn freckle.
No, it doesn't.
And that wasn't her attitude, but that is like the conclusion. Another funny thing about that is if this is cancer and it's going to kill me, if I get murdered by like what is just known worldwide was supposedly the cutest thing in the world.
Right.
Just like something adorable.
Freckle cancer killed Drew.
Worst case we've ever seen.
Anyway, I finally went to another doctor that now has told me he can fix my shit. So like maybe you should, second opinions are a thing for a reason. Maybe you should go to another one.
Well, yeah, this one lady told Trey his cat didn't need a cone.
Right. Dude, doctors especially, some people think that like they're, infallible or like a doctor. Right? But like, dude, they don't. So many of them, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Buddy, I agree.
Amber's cousins are doctors, and it changed my whole fucking outlook on the whole situation. And I love them, and they're smart. Like, dude, they've said some things where I'm like, you get pearls? Goddamn, all right.
I bet they've made some region championship promises themselves, but it's a freckle though.
Sure.
Like I feel like part of the reason I'm confident is like you can't mess that up and even be a doctor.
Right, but okay.
But now it hurts.
Right,
so
yeah.
I'm like,
freckles ain't supposed to hurt.
No, freckles don't hurt.
I have to go.
All right,
maybe I'll buy a ski.
Bye, ski. Mick about to lose his mind.
Get that check out?
Get that freckle checked out.
I'll get my freckle checked out. I thought you were telling me to get my check out. I was like, I'll show you my check, man. I signed it, B-Rabbit. All right, he's gone.
What the fuck is he going to do?
Well, I think Katie had to leave, and he didn't realize she did when he agreed to do this time with us, so he has to go watch his kids.
Yeah, and she goes to the post office for 10 hours.
Speaking of, I got to go to the post office. How do you feel about mailing drugs?
Well, first off, I just mailed something at all for the first time the other day in my whole life. I've never mailed a thing.
Oh, that's cute. I guess. I mean, I probably was like 20 something before I did that.
I've mailed. I guess no, I don't know that I've ever mailed letters because why would I? But I had to. Me and my buddy. This is gonna make me sound worse than I already do. Me and my buddy are like we have like this sort of like comic book exchange program where like I'll have one that hits, I'll send it to him, he'll send me one that he thinks hits, and it's like a pen pal but for nerds. And it was the first time I was doing that, and I went down there, and luckily I know the post office dude, and I just sat it down and he just did it all for me, and like just while we were having a conversation. But when I was walking in there, when I was walking in there, I was like, oh, God damn, it's Barry, and he's going to have to find out that I don't know how to do this.
That's really cute for a variety of reasons. And the number one is you think that since you know that guy, he just did his job.
Well, no, what I'm saying is like well, no, I know it is, but like there was the envelope stuff that I'm supposed to grab, but he just grabbed it and then put the mark in it and said, where you sending this to? I know that I'm at least supposed to be the one that fills it out, right?
I mean, they prefer that, but if you just go up there and be like, no, I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know.
Okay, see what you're kind of explaining my whole situation. I don't know. I have no fucking idea. So
what I'm realizing is maybe I don't know either, actually, because sometimes I fill stuff out and go up there, and sometimes I just walk up there and say, can I just tell you where I want to send this, please? And then they say yes.
Yeah. I mean, I had
Go ahead.
No, I mean, I had it in my mind that that's what I was going to do. But then also in my stupid show brain, I was like, he's going to go fucking tell everybody I don't know how to use the mail.
I mean, but to me, it's like you go to the mail office.
Yeah, I agree with you. You go to the mail and here's my mail. Yeah. And they're like, where would you like to mail this to? And you just here.
Tell them. If you literally went, my buddy Dave, and that was it, then I would be like, well, you don't know how mail works.
Yeah. No.
But if you're like, here's my money, here's where I need this to go. Yeah. And it is intimidating because they got all them boxes now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't know and I was like, do I need a stamp? Like, how many stamps goes on a comic book?
Yeah, they got to weigh it.
Yeah, and they did all that shit. So, and like, I walked out of there just like at 32 years old, like, yeah, really fucking doing it today. Went to the fucking post office.
You had a first. It's nice to have firsts.
Yeah, I have them a lot. That's the beauty about being me. Yeah. I've had so many firsts.
How many big firsts do you have left? You got first kid if you ever have a kid.
Kids definitely. Divorce.
I was gonna say first, second wife is a big one.
Yeah, but right now
I think I've got my first cancer coming in.
Yeah, I don't have that one, but because I got a house, so that was first time I lose the house. Bankruptcy, that'll be a first.
That'll be a big one.
Yeah,
I mean, what all is there? Grandkid.
Yeah, I guess. Been laid, and I've been to Seattle. I mean, what else do you need?
Really? Been laid in Seattle? I don't think I've been laid in Seattle. I don't think I have. Let me text Sandy later and see if she's ever been to Seattle.
And he's like, I've been laid in Seattle. I don't know what the fuck your problem is.
No, that wasn't the question at all. Yeah, I just can't remember if we went together. That's a good point. I should make specific requests. First orgy. I guess that's, butt stuff. You got some of those things. Those are good. I
think at this point in my life, I'm looking forward to last. Fuck first. I'm trying to have last. That's my deal.
Yeah. What about the last time? You might not know, but what about the last time you have to pretend to like somebody that you don't like?
Yeah, I don't know what age that is, but there's definitely there's
ages, and then there's amounts of money, and then I guess there's mental illness where you literally don't give a fuck about society anymore. Those are the only three ways I know to get to it.
Yeah, well, or somebody can just do something where you're like, you know what, I can't possibly be nice to this person anymore. It's like they could say something that was so.
Anybody.
Oh,
literally, never again in my life will I pretend to like someone I don't like.
Oh yeah, I think for me it'll have to be age instead of money, because if I just got a lot of money right now, I would still be like, well, this will go away, and then that person will still exist, and then I was just a dick to everybody. And
but you don't have to be a dick. You just like, I'm not even talking about like being a dick. I realize that you guys have painted me into a very dark corner here on the Well Read podcast, and that's the role that I play. But I'm not talking about being a dick. I more mean of just like, you don't have to pretend to care. Like if somebody's like talking to you about something, and it's not like you would be like, go fuck yourself. You just be like, no. Like, you ever like tell somebody no without giving them an explanation?
Yes, I think they interpret that as being a dick.
Well, fuck them. That ain't being a dick.
You ever just have someone be in a conversation, you just go, no, bye. I ain't being a dick. What are you talking about?
But why were you in that conversation? I mean, you're painting as if we're sitting around talking, everything's going well, and then you just up and leave. But you know how like sometimes people approach you and they like ask you to do something, and like you can't even believe they're approaching you with this shit.
Oh, well,
this is not something I'm interested in, and we barely ever talked. And you say no, and here's why, and blah, 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 you know?
Actually, I kind of, sometimes I do things like that a little bit where like.
We all do.
Right. And I'm not old. 32 is not old, but like you start realizing like how really little time there is. You get busy and then you're like, all right, I only have so many things. And like someone starts talking to you. And then I have gone like, hey, I don't mean to be this guy, but like I can't really spend 30 minutes on this because I don't really give a fuck about it. So anyways, call me when you want to talk about sports. I'll be there for that. But like, I don't really give a shit. Like people just start going on and on and on about fucking like local drama and shit. And I'm like, I could go home and in the time we've had this conversation, I could watch a show that was written that's better than this. Like their drama is better. Why do you care about what so-and-so said about so-and-so at the fucking beauty shop? And then, oh, well, if she finds out and blah, 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 just go home and watch fucking reruns of Friends. They did it.
And there will be a time in your life, you may not know when it is. And it may just be because, you know, you didn't know it, but that night you were going to fall off a balcony and die. But there will be a moment in your life where it is the last time you ever do any version of that.
Yeah, that'll hit.
That's what I'm saying.
That'll be
That's
really
a good
great.
last.
Yeah, I think that I don't know what the amount of money is and I don't know what the age is, but I know that there's a certain amount of money that could probably make the age be a little lower, and there's a certain age that could make the amount of money be a little lower. You know what I mean? There's like a curve there. Like if I had
see it in old people.
Oh, dude.
And it's quite literally the only thing to envy old people. When you're old, whether you have money or not, like if your physical abilities start to go, you know, you can't feed yourself or wipe your own ass, you got that. You've seen and done it all. Like, what is there left for you? So you don't have those firsts we were just talking about. You realize that you're kind of a burden on society at some point. If you're not already, you will be soon. You're afraid your faculties are going to leave if they're not already leaving. All that's going on. But one thing that you have is that you genuinely don't give a fuck what people think about you. Not in a way where you're pretending to. It is beautiful to see. Right. And again, not in a way where you're pretending to, but you're going so far that direction, it's actually clear that you very much care what people think about you. You just want them to be afraid of you or whatever. Not that. We're talking about straight up.
Yeah, genuine.
If I have to interact with you, I will, but I don't care what you think or, you know, what you need. Like, not like if you fell down in front of me, I wouldn't help you up, but just more like if you're trying to get me anything out of me that I don't want to give you, you're not getting it. Even pleasantries. I love that in old people.
Yeah, I don't have it like that, but I do have, like, I'll tell people, used to when people will be like, hey, we're all, like, let's say we're all at my house and everybody's like, hey, we're going to go downtown and drink. Used to, I'd just be like, oh, well, they've asked me and everybody's here, so I better go. But now I can just go, no, I don't want to do that. And they'll just be like, oh, come on, why? And I'll just be like, you could sit here for 2 hours and do this. That does not work on me anymore. And they're like, fucking, all right. Whereas used to, you'd call me a pussy once, say that we never see each other, and I'm fucking there. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to go. And so I'm not going to go. You're wasting your time. By the time you get there and are an hour in, you won't remember that I'm not there anyways. So just call me tomorrow and tell me who fucked who.
When you did that, when they tried to get you to, and they would like, there's a word for that. I can't think of words.
FOMO.
No. That's like what you would have. I'm saying
they try to guilt me with that. Yeah, peer pressure. Yeah, I can't stand it.
When you were susceptible to it and you went, did you end up having fun?
Yeah, I mean, I would end up having a couple drinks and then be like, oh yeah, I'm having a good time. But still, most of the time, I still wish I'd have stayed at home. Like, I feel bad the next day, and I also feel bad about myself because I didn't stand up for myself and I did something that everybody else wanted me to do. But like, yeah, I don't anytime, because peer pressure just overall pisses me off now. I try my best to know it to people. Like if I ask somebody to do something and they're like, no, and I'm like, okay, if that makes you happy, whatever. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not guilty of it some. I absolutely am. But like, I try to be a very whatever makes you happy dude. If you don't want to do it, why would I want you to do it? I don't want you to be, I'm not asking for a prisoner. I'm asking for someone to go do a thing with me. And if you don't want to do it, why the fuck would I want you there? Makes no sense.
Right. But then you think, or I think, and maybe this is wrong, and this is why I get perceived as an asshole so much. Sometimes I think, and maybe this is like kind of shitty because it's like kind of condescending. Sometimes I think, like, hey, Corey, do you want to go to this concert with me? And you're like, nah, man, we've been on the road a lot and blah, blah, blah. And I think, yeah, I think that's probably his depression talking, though. Like, he might need to get out of his house. But then, like, that's not on me, though, you know?
No. But
The
no,
other thing I think that's happening there, just real quick, let me get this hit in because I thought of it and then you kind of cut out and then I'm ruining it right now by over explaining it. But I think really what's happening is you've started to hate peer pressure because you realize now that you're doing so well and hitting so much, you don't have any peers.
That made me feel really good.
You resent the entire notion that this person could pressure you from a peer perspective.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to be in court one day, and they're going to be like, you're going to be judged by a jury of your peers. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
Yeah, well, I thought you had to have 12. There's like 3 of them.
Yeah, maybe, at best.
One of them died.
Yeah, no, I've been thinking about that, like, because a lot of it is my depression. Like, I'll tell Amber, and I struggle with it. I'm like, it's so hard for me to make plans ahead of time because, like, I'm very aware now of, like, I don't know how I'm going to – right now, fuck yeah, man, I want to do that. But I don't know that come that day if the same Corey who said, fuck yeah, I want to do it is even going to be around. And it's not that, like, I just want to bail on the plan. It's like sometimes I'll get, like, that depression where it's like I can't even – like, I don't even want to leave the goddamn house today. And it's not that I want to bail on y'all and that doesn't sound like a fun idea. Nothing sounds like a fun idea to me right now, and I can't. It's like that's – I don't know. I've got to either just start never making plans. If I want to do something the day of, that's good, or just fucking suck it up and go do a shitty thing, which I guess would be better because, yeah, I would end up having fun. But, like, I never know which Corey's going to be the dude.
Well, Andy and I's not rule, but what we aspire to with that, because we both deal with that. But what we say is, if you made this plan when you were in a good mood and you wanted to do it then, you really did. You didn't just say yes because you thought I wanted you to or whatever. Then you're going to have fun if I make you go or if you make yourself go. Like, the depression is keeping you from wanting to go right now. But once we get there, depending on how bad it is, and sometimes Andy's depression is worse than mine. I really deal with anxiety more than depression. Sometimes when Andy gets there, she still ain't having fun because her depression is too much. With my anxiety, she don't even try to get me to go. It's rare, thank God, but when I'm really anxious, I can't have fun. I can't be fun. She just leave without. She's like, thank God I can get the fuck away from you. And I'm not mean or anything, but when I'm anxious, I'm just like fucking zzz. I'm like a fucking electric fence. You know what I mean? It's just like.
My little rule for myself is just if the plan is contingent on me being there, no matter how I feel, I'll suck it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say I made the plans. I rented a hotel. I was told everybody I'd drive and yada, yada, yada. And then day of, I don't feel like it. I'm not going to cancel on anybody else. But if it's a situation where I was just tagging along and, like, if everybody just thought about it, you're still going to have a fucking good time without me, then, like, I'll give myself the excuse. But if, like, I'm a big part of it, like, I just suck it up and hate it and just like, well, at least, you know, nobody can say I didn't fucking do it. But, yeah, man, I don't know. I got maybe I need pills.
Therapy, probably.
Yeah, definitely. I've been thinking about that because we've been off this whole time, and my whole plan was like, well, we're gonna be off. I'm gonna go see somebody. I'll be able to, like, actually go there once a week or whatever. Because when I'm on the road, it's difficult because you got to get with, like, an online physician and all this fucking shit. And I don't know how much that'll work. And I fucked around and just didn't do it. And now we're about to be back on the road, and I'm like, well, can't do it on the road. Don't know what to tell you.
There's a guy here that Andy's been babysitting for a semi-famous musician. She's not really famous. She's like won Grammys, but her genre, it doesn't matter. And that lady's husband has a therapist that specializes in childhood religious trauma.
Oh, boy.
And I think I'm going to give it a whirl. Maybe I can get rid of these panic attacks. Anyway, save that for a different podcast.
I don't know what my specialty needs to be, but I will just go to somebody and figure it out.
We figured it out on this podcast, Corey. You got molested when you were in 5th grade by a big titty blonde woman, and now you're literally unable to break free from them.
Yeah. So I'm going to go to therapy and get a divorce, then create a whole other set of problems.
No, you'll start to realize that your relationship with Amber can be and is in some ways based upon real things, and you don't need to fear her. She's not actually going to take advantage of you. She's not that person who hurt the little boy Corey. She is a grown woman who likes grown man Corey.
What do you want to bet that she picks this week to start listening to our podcast?
And she wants to know who the fuck that was and what that was about, you mean?
No, just, all that shit. Nah, she ain't going to listen to this.
No, and also it might be nice. Maybe.
Well, we have reached our time, and I can also have to pee, so this just kind of worked out.
All right. Into the biscuit, podcast. Listen to it, guys. If you listen to it in the past, I've been wanting to say this on here for a while, and you didn't like it because we couldn't figure out our fucking sound shit. I figured it out. It has, and by I mean this good dude Kevin Stover, who is now our producer, who rules. And it's great, so check it out. We just launched Patreon today. DJ's as wild as ever. Hopefully we're going to have him on Well Read again soonish, probably end of March, beginning of April.
Yeah, and so also go check out all of our dates at wellreadcomedy.com, and a date that is not on there, it's not the Well Read tour, but me, you, and DJ will all be together on St. Patrick's Day at the Palace Theater.
You're going to do it?
I'm going to do it.
I told him to ask you because I knew if I did, you'd say no, just like the fucking story you just told about your friends who you don't really like. But, okay, this rules. So unless Corey gets depression and decides that it's not contingent upon his being there.
No, here's the thing. I won't do it to DJ. I've told DJ that I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? It's only him, though. Like, literally anyone else asks me, I might be like, I fucking don't know. But no, I got to start hitting some mics in Chattanooga. That's going to be a good fucking time. We're going to have a blast.
Palace Theater, Chattanooga, me, DJ, and Corey.
That's what it is, isn't it, right?
Yeah, so here's the order. You could be a groupie. You could follow us if you wanted to. I'm not saying anybody should do that. I'm not even saying any of our fans can afford to do this, which I totally respect, and you got kids and jobs. But you could come to Raleigh on March 12th and see the Well Read Comedy Tour back to back, right? One show Thursday, 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday. You could probably meet Kiwi the Tiny Horse and Corey's wedding, probably be at one show.
Oh, yeah.
On Sunday, DJ and I will be in Asheville. You can come with us there. Then on Monday, DJ and I will be in Knoxville. And then on Tuesday, DJ and I will be in Chattanooga, where Corey's going to join us. And we're being hosted by Jake James.
What? Jake James going to be there?
Jake James is the Chattanooga host. We're also going to do a live Into the Biscuit at the end that we will put up on our Patreon, and Corey and Jake James will be the guests.
Oh, my God. I'm going to get Jake James.
Buddy, it's St. Patrick's Day. We're all getting Jake James. I figured out the only antidote to being Jake James.
Jake James, him right back. Yeah.
You got Jake James. I'm kidnapping him. I'm taking him to fucking Chattanooga, and I'm not letting him go home.
What would we have to do to Jake James? Like, what would
Steal
we
his
have to
car.
do? He's like, I got to get the fuck out of here, boys. Y'all going too crazy. That would never happen.
I think be too away from Knoxville for too long. I don't think there's any event we could do, but unless it's like Bonnaroo where he knows what the specific date is. And by the way, he brought his mama to Bonnaroo with him the second time he went. Like, he can't be away from the bird for more than 2 days unless he like mentally prepared for it.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, there you go. March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. Prepare to get Jake James at the Palace Theater.
And come see Well Read in March. Another thing we haven't said real quick, tell your friends about this podcast, folks. I don't know how long it's been since we've said that. You know Well Read. You love Well Read. You know people in your life who would love it. Tell them about it, man.
Yes, absolutely. It's a grassroots operation. So, love you, Skew.
Love you, Skew. Skew.